So I'm still trying to get. A son of a bitch. But anywho, after a long wait, we are back. So welcome to those of you who are you're gonna be watching in the stream on Twitch, or for those who will be watching on YouTube later on in the evening when I upload this. Uh, we are back with episode, I guess you could say, is season two of Milsim Real Talk. Today we are joined by, if I'm not mistaken, it's Captain Delta CG.
Yep, Delta CG.
So if you just want to go ahead and introduce yourself, like tell us who you are, like what you've been like, what's your experience doing all this, like Milsim. I know Armor Forger is new to a lot of people. Like, was Armor your first Milsim, or did you start like on console wise, like a lot of the guys in the community, like Battlefield?
Yeah, so I started on Xbox 360. I did a lot of Battlefield Milsim under a lot of the same alias. I've always been Delta, just with different names at the end. I started with Battlefield 4. I ran all the way with that for shoot, that must be I don't know 8 years now, 9 years. I have a lot of experience on that. About 2 years ago, I started up on Armor Forger. Um, I was part of another unit, and a lot of the individuals within that unit just didn't really like kind of the way it was structured, but they had the same kind of mentality that I did. And they had it was a more of a community structure rather than a Milsim structure. So a lot of them kind of came to me and were like, "Hey, we know that you have a little bit of experience in this. Would you be willing to kind of start up a community that's more Milsim based rather than community based and more like realism factored?" So that was the formation of the 25th Infantry Division, which I'm the current company commander of. Um, we began as the 25th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. Following that um, that initial start, we kind of kicked off. Our main thing was giving individuals the idea of realism and fun, um, with a understanding that real life comes first, which some units just don't understand that. And we've been thriving ever since. We've been completely active. We changed our name to the 25th Infantry Division from IBCT, and we are what we are now. So
So, if you mind, we'll go back to the Battlefield days. Like,
yep.
what were your units that you started? Like, what was your first unit, and going up to like when you decided to stop doing Battlefield? I guess move on to, I believe, was it Armor? Like, was the Armor Forger like your next step from Battlefield?
Yes. Yeah. So the big units that I can recall, I led a couple over there. None of them were crazy successful or anything. The one I ran directly was SEAL Team 2. Obviously, it is what it sounds like. It's just a special forces unit within um, Battlefield 4.
Yeah,
We were,
everyone wanted to do like high speed shit back then.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what we tried to do. It worked out. We had a good core of guys. I still play with a few of those guys. One of the guys is still in my unit, or is in the 25th now. And we were attached to the 1st Battalion, 66th Marines, ran by a Colonel Pops, older individual. Really love that guy. He got it. He's completely retired from Milsim now, but he kind of gave me my foundations of understanding like how these Milsim communities worked. And then following that, I went to Battlefield 5 for a short time, like right after they added server support or like private server support. Um,
Were you in
did a little bit.
the Battlefield 5 community chat?
I might have been for a short time. I never led a unit on there. I was always a part of a unit,
Yeah,
just
there's
because it
like
wasn't as big.
before there was the like server support. Like, I don't know, I don't remember who exactly founded that community, but like we had like the fucking huge ass Milsim like community chat going on in there. Like everyone had their unit. They had like they prepped their claims and all that shit. And like long story short, everyone was pretty much disappointed like how that game turned out because that was pretty much like you had like pretty much like full you went full throttle on like hyping, prepping everyone for like the next big Battlefield game, and then pretty much as soon as servers and all that stuff took off, it's like the engine blows up and pretty much like Dice and all of them were looking at it. I was like, well, shit.
Yeah, that was the big reason why I never started a unit. I think I claimed like the 11th Airborne on there, um, but I didn't want to just jump into it. I wanted to understand what the culture was on that game. I ended up joining another unit, and it was just to kind of feel it out, and that ended up just dying out. And I was like, all right, well, that's the end of that. I took a little bit of a hiatus between the end of my BF4 Milsim days and like BF5 and then into a Forger, until I finally I finally got a Series S. Um, and went to that, and I was on there for I don't know, probably 2 years. Playing just on Series S. I was almost immediately in a unit. I kind of hung out with those guys. Um, and then once again, I started 25th a little bit after that time started. So
Now, what all does 25th incorporate? Like, is just like ground infantry only? Like, what kind of like assets wise do you guys have? Like, of course, a lot of people in the community want to have their own version of SOAR. You got some folks have fighter wings and um, supporting elements like artillery. Like, what all does the 25th bring to the matter?
yeah, so the 25th Infantry Division, we pride ourselves in being a solely conventional unit. We have absolutely no special operations. All of our missions are aimed at the large scale multi-domain operations where you see air, ground, and armored assets cooperating in cohesion. So it's first and foremost, Arma is an infantry-based game. So we have our Alpha Company, which consists of one very overstrength platoon right now. Um, they are very robust. They're very capable in just about every single mission set that you see for a conventional mission. So that encompasses raids, attacks,
Except that
um,
one unit that
flanking
everyone's like,
operations.
every one unit's all roided out. Fucking first ones to go in.
Yeah. They're very robust. We're generally a mechanized unit, though we do air assault every once in a while, as well as just fully mounted operations. It just depends on what the mission set is and kind of changing the flavor of the mission. And then we have our second squadron, 14 Cavalry Regiment. They are our armored section. They operate the M3A3 Bradley, and they are once again our armored fire support element. And they provide us with occasional long distance recon, and once again fire support.
So you
And then you go into
utilize
our
you you utilize Bradleys or like is it like a mixture of Bradleys and Strikers?
solely the Bradley, because right now the Reforger mod for the Striker is not up to par for what we want. If we
That's the
could use the
thin skin
Striker and
stuff.
be yeah, if we could be completely accurate to the 25th, I'd like to use Strikers. But the mod just isn't there, and it hasn't been, which really sucks. But the Bradley gets the job done, and our my XO, who is currently commander of it, is very competent in what he does, and he's very capable. So he makes the most out of all of that. Generally, what we'll see in a mission is anywhere from 2 to 3 of those Bradleys plus our infantry element, which is just phenomenal, especially for me as I'm one of the primary GMs for our unit. I don't really get run on the ground that often, but it's they make it very hard for me to create problems and for them to be robust problems for them to solve. But
Like
um,
when it comes to them like doing missions, do you try like throw a few curveballs their way, like see how they
oh,
react and whatnot?
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. We try to make all of our missions different. The big thing that I've noticed is we try to create these missions in a semblance of realism with a lot of story, which I'll get into a little bit later, just based on our mission making. Um, but we try to make it like fully adaptive, right? We're trying to make it feel like they're not just fighting AI, they're fighting another peer enemy. Um, we try to really expand how we as the GMs like manage the enemy, so that it's not like, oh, we're gonna go in this linear assault and we're gonna assault to this objective and then this one that's right behind it and then the one that's right behind that. They're gonna have to make decisions and we're gonna give them the freedom to make those decisions, but we're gonna have pre-placed AI and pre-placed units that are gonna be in those areas based on logical tactics of where these enemies would be. Um, so we kind of use that to create a more realistic battle space, as opposed to like a more linear kind of Call of Duty battlefield kind of feel of a mission.
Now, when it goes
And
to,
then,
oh, go ahead. I was
sorry, I was just gonna plug the 25th, our aviation unit. Um, Once again, run by a very capable individual. Um, he's awesome. He's very knowledgeable. They work multi-purpose. They do supply runs. They do close air support, reinsertions, all that kind of stuff. They're really awesome. Um, Basically the same mission as 14 Cav, but up in the air. And then the very last plug I have is we have the 225th Battalion's Supply Brigade. Their entire purpose in missions is to resupply the troops on the ground, run supplies back and forth, build up FOBs, build up FARPs for the aviation guys, build up just ammo dumps, all that kind of stuff, and just be that lifeline to the unit so that we're fully engaging in realism, um, especially for the infantrymen, which is once again what ARMA is based on.
I noticed going into your aviation unit, is it strictly just like helicopters and I assume attack helicopters, or is there like fixed wing aircraft involved?
Solely rotary, so we only use the UH-60 and the H-64.
Damn, I was kind of hoping for an A-10 in there.
I wish. Reforger is very restrictive when it comes to the fixed wing realm of aircraft, unfortunately.
It's been, I will say, a month, a couple months actually, uh, since I last heard someone was actually working on a model for the AC-130, and I'm not sure how far they are on it anymore. I'm not even sure if they're still
Yeah,
working on it.
yeah. The biggest problem you'll run into is just with the game including console, and eventually having PS5 join in the mix. It's just not going to be. It's not possible. The render distance of console just doesn't allow it, which is something that we constantly contend with our assets because those optics on like the H64, for example, go out 36 times in zoom. A console player can only see 400 meters past where their current position is. So that's something that we've been contending with, specifically with our assets, um, which really sucks, but ain't much we can do about it.
Yeah, I noticed that it gets kind of weird around those. Like, you can have a fucking patchy gunner, or yeah, I guess say gunner, scanning out from distance, and GM would like slap a fucking fob and some maybe op4, and then just north of the fucking unit, and you got Apache gunners like, hey, we got X amount of guys, couple armor guys here, and whatnot. Some units, some battalions will. It's like, yeah, you take us out for us, or some will like kind of hold off on them uh, do anything. It's mainly just like scout, like, well, okay, they're there, yeah, they're over there, blah blah blah. Like, do when it comes to like getting the air boys, the fly or they call it fly boys and engage. Do you guys do they get enough action? Because I know one Apache can absolutely fuck an entire like enemy off-war group to the point where like blue four ground troops on the ground is like, shit, are we even needed?
Yeah, so the big thing that we try to balance right now, which it sucks for us right now, is our aviation unit is kind of like our bastard child. Like we give them a lot to do, but there's not a lot for not a lot of people that are interested in flying, which is very interesting to us. Um, it just might be the realm of recruitment that we have, but um, they just don't have enough people.
Be like the NIL
So
deals for college football. It's like, how much you got? How bad you all want you to be a pilot? Shit.
yeah, yeah. So like what we they've been kind of relegated to using the Blackhawk specifically for reinsert, resupply, all
Do
that
you
kind of stuff.
do you guys use the Blackhawk, or is it like strictly the like I know there's like the Blackhawk with the door gunners, and like you can transfer up to about I want to say 11 people, depending on
Yeah,
or even between 11 and 15 depending on the model. And you got the supply Blackhawk, which is just the door gunners, the pilot, co-pilot, and like you just load supplies in there, and of course the DAP, which has
yeah.
your fucking Zunies, your Gatling guns, your miniguns, and it's pretty much go kill that guy over there and everything around it.
Yeah, we try not to use the DAP very much because it's more of a 1/60th asset rather than a regular army asset. We use it occasionally, just trying to change up the mission set, especially for the aviation guys to kind of get them a little bit more exposure to the guys on the ground because entry level when you get in the unit, you have to be infantry for a minimum of 2 hour missions. And we do that to just kind of allow people to understand what the
Get
personalities of the
Give them
people in
like
the
a
unit
general
are.
gist. That way, everyone's kind of on the same footing.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we just try to do that every once in a while to give them exposure. Sometimes we'll let them loose with an Apache. But the big thing we do is when we put an Apache into the field, we don't have it only operate with the sole purpose of supporting the infantry. We give them side missions, in essence. So they will go beyond their own tasking, but they'll be informed prior to step off that they will be called on, or they could be called on by the infantry element for on-call cast, which is not scripted by the GMs. It's all dependent on the infantry element. So they could continue doing their own missions that is completely separate from the infantry element. Um, but maybe at some point the infantry element gets absolutely pinned down. This Apache could swoop in and just absolutely eviscerate whatever's hitting them, so the infantry can continue on, and then that Apache can go
Just
rearm and then go
drop,
re-engage based on his mission.
drop like fucking 8 Hellfires in like a fucking
Yeah,
carpet bomb pattern.
yeah,
Do you? Speaking of aircraft and bombing and shit, uh,
yeah,
I know when it comes to GMing, you actually have aircraft like doing low flybys and shit. Uh, I believe it's just the model right now. It's just the SU-57 Felon. I believe there's an American model that's
yeah.
available. Um, like, do you guys do like simulated like aircraft bombing? Because I know you can't. There's like no way in hell someone made a someone would make a either B-52 or B-1, B-2 model that would be able to work well PC console. That way, someone would hop in it, they be flying and like just fly over a certain area, bomb it, and clear. It's like, would you have do you actually during certain missions like have aircraft fly over and like what was it? I'm not sure the term in GM is, but like as soon as they fly over, you see me like um, bomb impacts, like ears, like it'd be like artillery strikes or something like that. I have not been GM like I've not done GM shit that often.
No, yeah, yeah, you're good. Yeah, so we don't have Blue 4 that do that, but we have Red 4. What we'll kind of simulate in the AO as a GM is we'll kind of have jet flybys, or we'll have like simulated dogfights. So you'll see a SU-57 being tailed by 2 F-22s, just to kind of simulate what's going on in the AO. So we'll have that go on. Sometimes we'll have singular or pairs of jets fly over with the purposes of kind of simulating like a bombing run, right? And we'll drop artillery and explosions directly under their flight path and make it seem like they just laid hate to that area
Would it
that they were flying over.
will it be like one area or will it be like just some Vietnam shit where you just a whole ass area? It's just covered in nothing
Uh,
but.
it's linear, and we generally try to keep it to a set amount, just based on whatever platform it is, right? But we try to make it just so that the player base isn't like, oh, there's just jets flying over, who cares? Like if they're flying over and you're in a gunfight, that means that there's some other factor, kind of influencing what's going on,
I noticed you say like
whether it be a
red.
spotter, JTAC, or whatever.
Uh, you talking about like for red four?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, how often do you do that to where like you see them like you got your guys approaching an area and off 4 JTAC calls in an airstrike. I know you can hear in GM you can hear the guys that your blue 4 guys like to a certain distance like but as soon as they hear that jet fly out, how often do you like hear them just like absolutely go but like go absolutely nuts like start freaking out and shit like trying to find cover?
Um, it depends, right? Because once again, we have the simulated dogfights that kind of go on in the AO, and we have all that kind of stuff. Um, so it just really depends on who's trying, or like what the GM themselves are trying to do, right? If we're trying to be like, hey, there is air or hostile forces have airstrike capabilities in the AO, beware. They will definitely scramble and try and find cover when they see SU-57 fly over. Um, Especially when it's right over their position. So it just depends.
You, you can
Yeah.
just imagine that being this whole comical episode right there.
Looks like ants running around trying to find any inkling of cover they can find.
It's pretty much just incoherent gibberish being spewed out.
Yeah. So,
Oh
um,
fuck!
the other one we use, I don't remember what mod it is, but there's a mod that brings in MI8s for ambient flyovers. Um, they just fly in and out of the AO and then
Are
they
you talking
disappear.
about the one that goes in the wedge formation?
No, it's just a singular MI8. Um, if you're like, oh, there's
Oh yeah,
very
yeah.
active airfield, they'll you could have them simulated flying over all that stuff. They won't engage anything or anything like that, but they'll fly over and they kind of just give it a more realistic feeling, especially if they're in a more stealth kind of environment where it's only infantry moving through the woods or whatever, trying to just get eyes on the objective before they engage. Just kind of makes it feel a little bit more real, especially with like distant gunfights and all that kind of stuff.
Uh, Christ. Now, how often do you guys like? I know a lot of units want to do like nights, but what's the balance between your unit doing like missions at night versus missions in day?
It's dependent. It's based on our GM's creativity and like the morale of the unit. Because sometimes night ops are really volatile to a unit's morale, just based on like the mission set, what's going on. Um, Best reference I can give is we had one this last Saturday, that everyone had a really great time with. It just really depends on like what the GM's creativity has in play, and that comes with how we run our missions, and how our I don't want to say battle cycle. I don't know. I just blanked on what it's called. Our battle rhythm looks like, because we have deployment cycles, which are about 4 weeks, so it's 8 missions total. And then we have another 4 weeks off, where it's like retraining and rebuilding and kind of hitting on all the deficiencies that our unit has, and that's kind of what we hit on. So,
All right. When it comes to making your mission, like, you know, this guy sounds really smart.
thanks, Boya.
But when it comes to making your mission, operation mission, the whole pretty much from like start to finish, how long does it usually take you?
Um, well, before I get into that, because this is where it gets very, this is where I think that we're very unique in the way that we build missions. So we use 4 different games to create campaign missions, which are deployment cycles. So first and foremost, obviously we use Reforger. That's how we simulate being on the ground as the infantryman with direct implications based on decisions that are done at the strategic level. Those strategic decisions that are made are done on a game called Tabletop Simulator, which I could find a screenshot somewhere of a battle map if you want it displayed while I'm talking. I can kind of look for it. Um, that whole process, we will literally take a map from Armor Forger, place it onto a game board, which is built into um, one sec, built into Tabletop Simulator. Um, and from that, we will have our Red 4 element, which we have built in. It's organic to our unit. They will go in and they will be like, all right, so based on this, we can get this many missions out of it. This is the element size that our forces are going to be going against. We are going to place them in what we believe is strategic areas that we believe should be held based on the storyline that we've developed. And then from there, we will develop op boards for the infantry that are at the battalion level so that we can execute on those op boards. And the infantry can have a full experience of like they can make their own decisions, but they need to complete these battalion level tasks. And then moving into the other games based on the decisions that are done on the operational scale. So we were talking about the aviation side of stuff, right? We use a game called Command Modern Operations, and I can't remember what the other game is. I'm not the main person that operates this, but we use another game to simulate like air battle, and like the transportation of supplies to the AO, and like all that kind of stuff. And we try to make it like very full and very like realistic in the sense that everything that we do has an impact to the overall battle space. Here's I just sent you or I will be, sorry, as I was. I'm about to send you one of our older um, battle maps that we've used that kind of shows you the complexity of what these missions get into.
Oh
Um,
fuck!
yeah. um, they are
Wait a minute.
extremely complex.
I know this fucking map. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
that's Gulf. Yeah, it's Gulf Coast.
Ah, fuck. What the
Um,
hell did they do? I forgot what.
yeah, we used to. So we were the lead. We were leading members of another project that was led by one of our members called Project Foreigner. Um, we were in charge of running a campaign. If I don't know, I'm watching the stream while also being in here. They can't see what we're looking at, but um, we were the lead unit that was in charge of like 8 other units that were operating on the same map, um, trying to push out a PLA invasion of. I don't remember what the exact region was, but um, we were
oh,
all
I,
working
oh, it
simultaneously
just I just
to.
figured out how to.
There you go. Yeah. Um, so there's a bunch. Like there, it includes naval assets. So there'd be naval engagements. There'd be strikes with aircraft on naval targets, strikes with from aircraft on ground targets. Radar played a factor in the movement of aircraft. There was air defense artillery. There was submarines. There was special forces units. There were airborne
Wait,
elements. There was everything.
you talking about actual like sub models or just like hypothetical?
There were actual submodels that would be pushed off the coast in another game to allow us to conduct
Oh,
amphibious operations to get on the island.
that's enough. That's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, so all those circles are like radar ranges. So if you saw like the DDs and all that stuff, those are enemy destroyer PLA destroyers. The orange circles, those were all passive radars, all that kind of stuff. It was very, very, very in depth. And we still structure our operations in a very similar way. It's just not to the scale that it was in Project Foreigner. And then that's also like battle plans for us. We can't see the Red 4 side of the board. That's the big thing. So the Red 4 guys, they have like all those blank spaces where you just see towns and stuff. There's Red 4 forces staged there.
But you don't know to what extent.
Yeah, I have to send up a drone, and then it's like a D&D kind of thing. I send up a drone, and I go, I want to look from this cone to this cone, so left and right limit. And then based on that left and right limit, I can roll for success. So like if I roll, we always use 20 side die. If I roll a
Oh,
20,
so
I'm going to see
you
everything
actually,
within that cone.
oh, so you use actual dice to like determine the success of
Yeah.
the recon. Oh,
Yep.
okay, that's clever.
Yep. Once again, it's also within tabletop there it's built into the game itself, which is it's another Steam game. It's like $5 or something like that, but very in depth, very cool.
I was saying like seeing like oh you need uh imagery. It's like man, you kind of wish the SR-71 was still around,
Yeah. Um
but we'll have a replacement soon.
yes, we will. I might be able to pull it up, but yeah, that's the gist of it. Our campaign development is very in depth. We spend a lot of time trying to make sure that every operation is fun and realistic, right? Because
Like,
what we try to strive for is an understanding of we are not here to beat people down. People give us their time. So if we're going to develop something that they're going to show up to, it's going to be fun and engaging and realistic for what they're trying to experience. We're entertainment providers. We are not individuals that are trying to emulate the military and be just ourselves, right? We're trying to be something larger than that, if that makes sense.
I might. Oh shit. Oh okay. There we go.
So this is what the battle map kind of looks like. This is a previous one. There's just nothing on it, but
Okay. Damn, you're really going. Like, how often when it comes to like planning, like you might have already answered. So I kind of zoned out a little bit. How often or how long does it take you guys to come up with a like an operation?
so if it's like during our training cycle, it's generally going to be probably about a day where we kind of discuss what do we want our people to be training on, what do we want their experiences to be in the two missions that we run because we run missions Fridays and Saturdays at 18:30 Eastern. Um, we generally try to just make them completely balanced and understandable to kind of like what the AO or what we're trying to get them to work on. Because during the week we'll run trainings, and generally those missions will be based on those trainings, just to allow for development of the skills that they've been learning. Whether it's something completely new or something that we're just kind of refining, it just all depends on kind of those different situations. But so that's
Yeesh.
the old story of the blue mission.
For PLA forces, that sounds like some Southeast Asia shit right there. Fucking
Yep,
Phil,
we were in the
Philip.
Philippines.
Ah yeah, I was gonna say the Philippines and Vietnam fucking ready to fucking screw some of China's shit up because there was a shoal, uninhabited shoal that a couple Chinese Coast Guard officers like seized. Like they did a little photo ops, like, oh we're here. And they unveiled like the Chinese flag, and of course Philippine Coast Guard came, retook it, did the same fucking thing. Like, oh, they show our flags. Like, dude, it's like either fucking shoot each other or just be quiet.
Our Logi system with built in within everything. So you got C5, C17, C130s.
Fucking
The different locations they'll be
C5s.
coming.
Jesus.
The different locations they'll be coming from, because generally it'll take about the same amount of time. So, say we load this thing up with whatever this whole pack right here, right? Put it here, coming from the East Coast, and we're in the South China Sea, which means it's gonna take a lot of travel time. So every turn that we take, which is day-night cycles, right? So we start in the morning. After I complete all of my turns, we're in midday. It's one move per unit that's on the map.
How many,
After those moves are complete, it's however many units I have and how many moves I want to make.
like, from our C5 going from like East Coast to where you're at, like how many moves will it take?
Be 4. Granted, we have a viable airfield for that thing to land at. So in this case, for this map, the only place that C5 could have landed is here.
Like, will it go from like the East Coast and fly west, or will it just be
Yeah,
weird and
yeah,
just
it'll
like
go.
fly all the way east?
Yeah, so it'll go east coast to west. So that's so morning to midday, and then midday to night, and then it'll wait until the next morning, and then it'll be in the AO. Then once it makes it to the AO, I have to roll for success for its landing. Um, and then from there, I can have it down. I can disload or dismount all the forces that we brought in, just as an example. So,
You got a whole real system going on here.
oh yeah, oh yeah. As once again,
Like
the idea
I
is
honestly never seen or at least heard of someone actually using 4 games, or 4 different games, mind you, to do a unit's operation in Reforger. This is a real first for me.
yeah, it's something that we're very proud of. I give props to my one of my PLs who's about to step down because he's got training for the military.
What,
Charlie, he's
what are you
the
talking?
mastermind behind all this.
Boot camp or
Some more of the officer training, more advanced training.
he's going to fucking
Um,
OCS and fuck.
yeah, I can't divulge what he's doing just for his own security.
Tell him the
Um,
rules. He gets promoted. Everyone gets a steak dinner from him.
yeah.
Hey,
Um,
hey, fucking E3s in the fucking military right now are getting 6 figs yearly. That's a lot
yeah,
better
man.
than what I got when I was in.
Yeah, so
Like,
this is just
I'm willing to fucking like fuck it. I know I might be old, but god damn it, fucking sign my ass the fuck up.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so I just have to give props to him. This is his baby. He's the one that developed basically all of this. Um,
Now
and yeah,
is
I
he
mean we're
like I know we getting divulged like is he going reserves or is he
active
going
duty.
oh he's going full time.
Oh
So
yeah,
I was actually
yep.
gonna wonder if he was gonna yeah he's going away for training, but like will you be able to see him again to where like he can help out, or if he's going at like since he's going active, like will you still be able to like hey can I tickle like can I tickle your brain? It's like what do you think about this and this?
Yeah, no, he'll be available. It's just he's taking a step back so he can focus on his training.
Shit. That's actually and he came up with all this like why don't we use this game and this game and this game for these and whatnot.
Oh yeah, yep. This is completely his brainchild. We assisted him obviously in a lot of the development. The main body of it is all him.
Hey, Milsim unit leaders, fucking take note. Fucking this shit helps apparently. I'm amazed. I honestly am. Now,
So
you can only do by the looks of it. It looks the space is available for like is it only available for like one map picture, or can you do like 2 different maps?
yeah, so I could downsize this if I wanted to be a smaller size. Obviously, I'm not gonna, but um, I could add multiple different maps onto this and create a entire region that we're operating in. Um, we haven't done it to that scale yet, just for the fact that our unit doesn't have the size. I just completely screwed that up, but it's fine. I'm not gonna save this. Um, it's all just getting screwed up, but um, you get the gist of it. Yeah, I mean, like this can be completely resized. And I can add multiple different maps. So I could have one up here, one over here, one over here, one over here. Um, and then have an entire naval task force off the coast for both sides that are trying to operate and compete for territory within the AO. It's completely possible. We haven't done to that scale. Once again, if I was the size of the 75th Ranger Regiment, I would do it in a heartbeat. However, we are not.
That'll be a planning nightmare and a headache of itself.
Oh yeah, I need an entire battalion staff plus to allow that to happen. So
Now I forgot to ask this earlier. When you're with your unit, are you guys like a modern unit or is it more like kind of Cold War era unit?
we're completely modern. We
Okay.
simulate like the 2025 to like 2035 era. So like what could happen in the near future. That's kind of our realm of
Okay,
existence and how
because
that
like
works.
when you're talking like you're bringing like naval task force to like Southeast Asia, it's like, hang on a second, we doing some naval task force? So you can fucking bring like battleships or something, like just fucking full on gunslinger.
No, we're looking at like full carrier groups from the U.S. Navy. Like you got nuclear powered Gerald Ford
Yeah,
class carriers coming into the AO with
I
their
miss the
entire
battleship.
complement of destroyers.
I would get my left nut if they brought back the fucking battleships. I would I would sacrifice that shit in a heartbeat. That
Did
cause
someone say? Someone say re-up?
fucking say no man, I'll do it. Fucking get me on a fucking battleship. Fucking ain't no one safe. I'll fucking do what the Wisconsin did. Fucking just flat out sink a mountain.
Yeah, dude.
Like, oh, you don't want to see that? Yeah, you see that guy over there? Yeah, I don't want to. Say no less, man. Uh, but going going forward, uh, what are your current thoughts on the Muslim community when it comes to Armor Forger? Do you like? Are you seeing like similarities to like how? I know you weren't running uh like units in Battlefield 4 for like. Do you see similarities to like units from Armor Forger and like shit that went on in BF4?
So, I think looking at multiple different units, I've taught our once again Charlie, our he's also our unit rep. He's the one that kind of once again he formed Project Foreigner. He also got a lot of relations based on that. Um, the biggest thing that I've noticed, as in comparison to Battlefield 4 specifically, I can't speak on Arma 3. He could if he was here. Is there is a there's more of a want or not a want. There's more of a inclination for leaders within this community to help others. Like a good example is Brewer. Brewer has been a good example of trying to build a community within the global Milsim community um, that is there to support smaller units and promote their growth.
Well,
Um,
isn't that the pretty much the general purpose of all Muslim communities?
yeah, but like you go look at like I'm not gonna call any out, but you go look at the others, right? They're very focused on like they're ran by the biggest unit. They're ran by the biggest names, right? And there's nothing that's really there to be a proponent of supporting the values of like maintaining integrity of units. Like a lot of them, they're just there, right? They're just it's a extra piece of publicity for those units. Whereas the GMC, which I might be a little bit biased, but I'm on the
I was gonna say,
counts or the board.
man, like this is MR, like this is Milsim Real Talk, dude. You fucking, you won't call someone out, man. It ain't gonna be like Battlefield
Yeah.
where someone wants your deets or anything. It's like, fucking say what you got on your chest, man.
Yeah, I mean, like the biggest thing that really stuck with me was when Brewer kind of reached out and was like, "Hey, do you want to be on the advisory council for this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I mean, like we're a pretty small unit. I had 70 members in my unit, and I have this guy that's reaching out. He has countless more members, right? Like he's got 3 battalions of guys. Um, I hardly have a platoon, and he's like, "Hey, we're here. We're trying to make this better. The idea of a community, actual community where people can share thoughts and support others and just make it overall better um, for the people within the community. And then with that, right, I don't know. I think that it's in a better direction than Battlefield 4. I think Battlefield 4 was very toxic. And I think this is moving in a really good direction. I think it's phenomenal to see a lot of new innovations happening within this community. Whereas Battlefield 4, I don't know. Once again, I don't know much about the Arma 3 community because I'm a newcomer to PC. But um, I think there's a lot of good things that can come out of this um, very quickly, just based on everything that I've seen so far. So.
Fuck. I had a fucking question. God damn it. Damn it, Delta. I had a I had a question. I was like, I was listening to what you're saying and I was thinking about this. Like, and by the time you was like, hold on, what the fuck was I thinking about? Shit. But oh fuck, that's I just got it back. Now you going to Battlefield like 4 again. We bring that up a lot. How often were you in like involved in raids?
um, I feel like we were getting rated more than we were rating other people. um, Granted, that's recalling. Shoot, that was before I was even in high school, right? We supported allied units pretty consistently, but it wasn't anything crazy. We weren't one of the units that were kind of going out and being predators to that, but we definitely
Now,
participated in some.
now going from like a lot of guys from Battlefield 4 made their way over to Armor Forger. Granted, it's Bohemia's big crown, big pretty much. I don't want to say crown child, but it's more of an experiment for them to kind of bridge console and PC players into one kind of game. And when it comes to the Milsim community, like, does there seem like a time where like, yeah, it's good to fight like AI every now and then, but like, do you wish at some point that you would kind of like duke it out like with another unit? It's like they're gonna play off 4 in this campaign, and we're gonna play Boo 4. Here's the game plan for us. Blah blah blah. Our main objective is this airfield. It's like you go from like step by step, or do you like do something like that, or would you just like kind of? I'm trying to word this question right. Um, do you think it'll be better for like units to um, do what we did about like Battlefield Milsim, where like oh they want to do something, they just like request someone's deets to a server and they hash it out, or they just like say hey we'll play your off 4 for like this weekend operation or some shit like that.
I think so. PvP is kind of volatile. Um, for the main fact that like when you get into a PvP environment, it's very hard to command and control individuals to create a cohesive idea
Yeah, because
and mission.
if we're familiar like going like ah, I am fucking up. If we're to like how it was in Battlefield, everyone like you try like oh this squad needs to go here. Everyone wanted to do this whole lone wolf shit back then.
Yeah, it, the scale of Reforger and the factor of PvP is it's just chaos, right? You don't have the command and control that you have in real life. Um, you you lose that, especially in PvP. Um, this game for my unit specifically, we have very few actual Red 4 players. The only Red 4 you're going to see is a GM taking control of an AI just for the sake of, I don't know, maybe firing rounds over the head or firing near people, punishing the player base for like a bad decision or whatever. Their entire purpose is just to add to the realism. Where PvP falls into this is you have these people that are just running crazy kits with absolutely chaotic tactics. There's a one maybe two man teams running around instead of entire platoons operating it cohesively.
Pretty much like the
Um,
embodiment of chaos.
it is that you have no control. You can be like, hey, I want all these guys to go this way, but there's no way that you can control them to do that in comparison to a mission where
What's
it's PvE based rather than PvP.
what's the what's the maximum you can have? A maximum amount of players you can have in a squad is like 12, right?
Yeah, 12 with a coalition squad interface, I believe, uh, added to your game.
But at, at what in my game?
With coalition squad interface added to the game.
Oh, I was just like, man, I'm not even in the game. What the hell are you talking
Yeah. Uh,
about?
yeah, with that added, it doubles the squad count. Base game it's 6.
What? Yeah, it's like 12, which is 3 times a lot bigger than what Battlefield 4 was. Do it? Do you think it'll be possible? Like, grant, because they like you try. Someone were trying to bring this up. I get like in a community, granted that's NATO, GMC, or God knows whatever, what other communities are out there for this game. Do you think there'll be like pushback from like other units, like, hey, why don't we try this? I mean, it'll bring more like people are people like do this whole PVE, but you also like some folks want to do PvP. Like it's being hashed out. It's like uh you want to use boot for, want to use off for. It's like, do you think that can be a viable uh what's the word? Not game set, but like I guess asset to a community where like if they can find a way to make it work, do you think that could work for everyone?
I think Red 4 is critical. I think it's something that's very important because we during our missions we try to mix in like the role play aspect of Milsim, right? There needs to be some sort of aspect where you're not just killing things, where you actually have to talk to individuals, or just interact with something that isn't as stupid as an AI, to kind of create a feeling of realism, like you're fighting someone that's equal to you, right?
Yeah, like talk to
Um,
someone like 1 minute is like, your farmer's like, oh, why are you touching me? Why are you touching me? Oh, it's my bicycle. Oh, you just broke my pop out tire. Next thing you know, the fucking driving some suicide vest right to your fucking
yeah,
checkpoint.
yeah.
It's like, well, fuck.
Yeah, like the big thing is like there's real implications to the decisions that the player base makes, right? Um, and that's something that we apply. We have a training course for our Red 4. They are not those individuals that do Red 4 only do Red 4. They do not participate in standard operations. They do their own thing separate to the unit, but they get trained separately as well. Because the idea isn't to screw over the player base and make it like a PvP kind of thing. It's to add realism to the player base and their experience and what they see and the different um, experiences that these people are going to go through. And they do very well, very very well in that. And it's still a work in progress, obviously. Um,
What does someone
but
have to
I
do to
think
be join Red for?
so. First and foremost, obviously, just like every other, one of our other sections, you have to do BCT, our basic combat training, just familiarization, understand what the unit comms are, you understand the culture of the unit. They do their 2 missions, and then they have to reach out to our we call them DoD civilians, just because it's easier to do that rather than classify them as anything else. They reach out to the head contractor. They go, "Hey, I want to do this." The head contractor will interview them based on their personality characteristics, all that kind of stuff. He'll make a decision, be like, okay, I think you're going to be a good fit for this, and then he'll train you. There's a whole training pipeline with a document that they follow, and they follow down that document until the point where they're like, all right, cool, I can let you go. You can run out for as needed based on these missions, but as long as you sign up, and we'll work you in and make it as fun for you as it is for us. right?
Pretty
Because I
much,
have a lot of fun GMing.
pretty much like the whole memes. Like, what was it? Someone made a blue meme. It's like the guy's handing him a gun. It's like, here, go commit crime.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. It's like, hey, this is what I need you to do. Go hop in that helicopter, run search patterns, because
Just be an
AI can't
absolute
fly
menace.
helicopters. Yeah, I mean, be a menace, but also adds the effects of the AO, right? You're like, hey, this they know that we're here, or like, hey, we're about to push a very secure area. Put up an MI8. I want you to get in that MI8. I want you to fly search patterns with a searchlight on, and if you see them, report it, and we'll send a squad over, right? It's just creating their entire purpose is to create a semblance of realism. It's not to screw the player base. That's the biggest thing that we try to influence with that kind of stuff.
All right. Going from Armor Forger, we're gonna take a pause for that real quick. We all know the alpha testing for Battlefield 6 is underway.
Yep.
Now, granted, we've seen the videos of like the first alpha test up to current. I mean, so folks are making it comparison like it's getting dark and gritty, kind of like how Battlefield 1 was in certain maps, and of course the odd campaign. Well, I mean, Battlefield 1's campaign was actually pretty nice. Uh, do you expect like can you see a resurgence back into Battlefield Milsim from like if all goes well, if what EA and Dice say, like they bring back like going back to whole Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 era of the game, and everything actually turns out right and not as shit as the last, of course, 2042, Battlefield 5. One was kind of messy with not a lot of it, so one could get it past, but like 5 and 2042. If it does a lot better than that, can you see a resurgence in Battlefield Milsim?
I think the only resurgence that you'll see in Battlefield Milsim is a shift from Armor Forger PvP Milsims going over there. And the reasoning I have behind that is yes, Reforger is very good. You're not going to see every single one of those units fly over to that, but the game is built and designed for large scale PvE operations, and PvP is like a side thought. Um, this one might not feel that. I've played a little bit of Arma 3, and I know that's what Bohemia goes for because the idea of Arma is, if you didn't know, was Arma was designed for the United States Army to be a simulator to train their troops. What we
Was that
have
the
now with
was that the fucking I remember no, it was a fucking video game called like the American Soldier, and like that was when they had
yep,
those crappy gray ACUs. Jesus.
yep, yep, that is what this is based off of. Um,
Oh no.
that is what Arma in its
No.
essence is. This is the civilian application of what that program is.
I got. Oh fuck. I did
So
not know that. I'm gonna fucking rip on some people.
yeah, so that's what makes this game what it is it's a PvP or PvE game where PvP is a supplement.
I'll be honest.
Um,
I like how Armor does like ground warfare. I'm not gonna
no, I
deny that.
agree.
I'm not gonna deny it. What irks me, its ground is their main focus, which I mean, this isn't the fucking 19th century or World War I. Fucking, there's a whole lot of other shit that is in play. Like you got aircraft, your naval vessels, which besides from like the 5-inch guns, which a lot of pretty much every nation has. Of course, everyone wants to do the caliber a little bit less, a little bit more, whatever. Uh, you could do like land bombardment, or use a 5-inch for ship to ship, or ship to air, like take out drones, ballistic missiles, what have you. I I know Bohemia's doing what they best they can, but like you really wanted to impress, is like put like you bust your ass, put like some. You could put like a basic ass military vessel or aircraft, like a fucking. I want to say that I forget the aircraft that it's a trainer version of the F5, the Talon or something like that.
Maybe I couldn't tell you. I'm a
It
army cat
that
all day, so
well, you seen like the Tiger Shark, the that
yeah, yeah.
small twin engine aircraft that apparently a lot of folks love. Like hell, it would have been like one of the next like not fighters, but like I guess kind of like a fighter bomber kind of shit. I don't know what fucking shit a little bit, but we could have had that and fucking armor. But like, I mean, I get it. We want to focus on one thing, but like, uh, I can't be the only one that irks. It's like you kind of get a short of the stick with only like one area.
Yeah, I mean, it comes in steps, right? It comes in strides because you have to think they're still refining the infantry aspect of this game. Arma 3 has all of this, but it's also double, triple the age of this game. And this game's on a completely
Wait,
different engine.
how old is fucking Armor 3?
It's almost I feel like it's approaching somewhere near 15, almost 20 years old now.
Fucking
I
no.
don't Not 20. It's closer to 15.
I
Um
was like, hey, no fucking way, hell in hell that shit's almost 20 years old.
yeah, it's getting close though. It is getting very close to that age where when you look at it, it doesn't make sense, right? But it's been out for so long on a different engine that you have to think the engine that Arma 2 and Arma 3 are on are very similar. The engine that Arma Reforger's on is completely different. So what they're doing is they're testing the boundaries, and then they're not also restricted by console, which I hate to say. The amount of stuff I could do on Arma 3 with the element size that I have right now, as compared to what I can do currently on Reforgers, is really really small.
Right.
Um, which really sucks because like I have a lot of really good mission ideas, and I know a lot of my GMs do well. Um, However, based on that, a lot of the missions that we make are still very complex and different, um, which is what you were seeing. It all depends, right? Um,
Right.
yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting.
All right. Well, it's getting about late in the evening. I know it's kind of surprise out stream for a lot of folks. Uh, but is there anything else like before we take off for a night? Is there anything else you want to say for the folks?
Yeah. I mean, just first and foremost, give conventional units a try. I know the glorification of, oh, I want to do soft stuff, I want to do ranger stuff, I want to be Delta, I want to be CAG, I want to be whatever. Give the conventional units a try. I promise you, the experiences that you're gonna have in all of those units are gonna be unique. But the things that you see in movies and the things that you want to experience are gonna be vastly different. In nearly every single one of our missions because we have a wider array of overall mission sets. So if you get an opportunity for a conventional unit, whether it's us or someone else, give us a try.
All right. Wait. Ah, fuck. I kept thinking. I was gonna ask if you were prior service as well. God damn it! I was thinking of
I am
someone
prior
else.
service.
Oh yeah. Fuck. Wait. Were you?
um, I Yeah, I'm a prior service. I was a 92 Yankee in the Army Reserves, and then I am on the
Oof.
verge of commissioning in the United States Army. I'm looking to do armor, so that's a little bit of my background on that.
Oh, so you trying to get in that You trying to get in that brand new Abrams, huh? I see you fucking get that Abrams X.
I would like to. It'd be cool, but.
we ain't doing that autoload of shit. Fuck that. I rather fucking. I
Nah,
rather buy. I rather if I had a option to buy one of those M10 Bookers, like just not to shoot anything, just to fucking just to buy it, just to fuck around and drive it, like pretty much do like mudding shit. I'd do it.
oh yeah.
Fucking just show
But
up to NASCAR and just fire it off.
yeah, that's the gist of what I do and what I bring to my community.
That, I know it's like the last thing, but one more question did pop up from on my end. Uh, do you believe it's more realistic for units to, when it comes to like forming units, everyone's expecting you to follow a certain guide, like kind of what we call battlefield mentality, where like, oh, you have like like 10 guys, you're only fucking sergeant, you're supposed to be a sergeant or an NCO or a fucking what was like the highest, I'll say master sergeant, or you get like 20 guys, 15, 20 guys, you're supposed to be like a lieutenant. Do you think it's more realistic to follow something like that, or do you think it's more realistic to follow like what the military has actually done, where like if you take the founding of the Marine Corps, that wasn't done like the guy in charge of that wasn't a fucking uh he wasn't an NCO. He was an actual like captain, or he's either a captain or a colonel. I'm fuzzy on Marine Corps history, like or
um,
army.
y-
It's like they don't start units or NCOs. Like a lot of the units that start up in the army were with high-ranking officer ranks. Like
I
the
so to, yeah, to answer the question, I think a big thing that needs to be looked at when you're trying to develop your own unit is don't go strictly off of how real life units work and how the real life military works. There's an idea of armification is how we term it. Take what is real and apply it to Arma, but make changes that make it fully apply to Arma and not just partially apply. We do a lot of what we do based on our experience within the game and understanding how people work as opposed to um, how people work in game as opposed to how they do in real life. Because we have a lot of people that are in the military and people that aren't. So it's hard to get that same semblance of realism and understanding among these entities. So with that, as a individual, um, it's important to really understand the complexities of um, like what Arma is, right? It's just different. That's the
like
big thing. It's not the same as real life.
yeah, understandable. It's like if someone were to start a Marine unit, say some random Marine regiment or Marine regiment or battalion, something like that. Do you think it would be better for them just like because everyone shoots for realism? Like
Yeah.
in that matter, would you be better for like if we're shooting for realism? Should we just go for okay? We got a cat. We want to start this unit. Real life, it's ran by a captain, of course. Captain for Navy's '06, Army, Navy, or Army, Marines, and Air Force, and I want to say Space Force, but no one's gonna fucking sim damn Space Force anytime soon. Unless we get fucking Mac rounds.
Yeah.
But like,
I
like
yeah,
Army and Marines and Air Force, like units start like when they're formed, you usually start with captains and then work their way up to like colonels and whatnot. This is like some
yeah.
real fucking balls to the wall, knees of the country shit, where it's like, all right, we got these guys, like a whole shitload of folks come out of boot camp. Yeah, they're gonna be green. We can sprinkle in some uh, battle hardened veterans, and but like we're gonna have a colonel lead these guys, a whole lot of group of green horse, which uh, if you looking at if you look at unit histories in like World War II, some of that shit was the case.
Yeah, I mean to kind of answer your question, so if for someone trying to start a new unit, if I ever had to do it all over again, which I really hope I don't, because I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into these guys, and I know it's a community that a lot of my members really enjoy. I would not start anywhere above a platoon leader, so a second lieutenant. I would be a lieutenant, and that is all I would be, all the way until I open up a second platoon. Um, Once that second platoon opens up, I'm going to bump up to maybe a captain at most, bare minimum first lieutenant, so I can manage those two elements. And then once I get a third and fourth platoon, then I'll bump to a company commander where I can manage those elements and I can understand where they're all working.
Right.
Don't throw yourself as a colonel and have the idea of quote unquote room to grow. This is something that we've learned through our 2 years of existence. Um, you need to start small because aspirations will overextend you. You'll be like, oh, once we get this, we can do all this. But the problem is you haven't made it to that point, right? Once you make it to that point, that's when you can be like, okay, now we can execute on this concept or idea that we really want to do, rather than being completely overextended in the latter portions of your efforts.
All right.
Um, yeah,
All right, gentlemen. With that, I'll call it a night. Uh, Delta, we again thank you for taking your time out of your night to talk to us, and hopefully we get to see you guys on the stream again.
yeah, for sure.
For those,
Appreciate you reaching out.
that's no problem. For those that missed the stream or joined late, uh, if you follow us on Twitter at Milsim News, sometimes tonight we will have the whole stream up on YouTube tonight, and once it's up and ready, we'll click the link. We'll pretty much provide you guys with a link in a post on Twitter. But anywho, gentlemen, or gentleman, I guess we're gonna call it a
Appreciate
night
it.
because my ass is tired and I'm ready to go to bed. So we'll see you guys this weekend with the next guest, and that'll be all. See y'all next time.